How's it going everyone? Welcome back to Evil Chronicles. Today, we're going to take a look at the evolution of the Assassin's Creed games from the first installation in the franchise to the latest game, which is Assassin's Creed Valhalla. So make sure to watch till the end. And of course, make sure to leave a like, subscribe, and hit the bell to support the channel. Starting off strong was the release of the first entry within the series, simply titled Assassin's Creed. In November 2007, we experienced Desmond taking part in the Animus experiment for the first time, as he moves backward into the midst of the Third Crusade. You play as Altair ibn al-Ahad, who must reclaim his honor of his seniority ranking within the Creed, and set right his past mistakes by assassinating 9 key targets. The targets were undercover Templars that held the secret to finding the all-powerful relic, the Apple of Eden. What is lacking in the first game is the awkward mechanic and button mapping, though praised for its social stealth interaction and visually capturing the experience and tension. It was an instant classic within the realm of video games, along with a strong start to the series. The creativity, mechanics, and story all but improved from this point onward. 2 years after the first successful iteration comes the sequel named Assassin's Creed 2. The tonal shift and overall aesthetic of the game is changed as the player is transported into the Italian Renaissance. The beautiful rebirth of culture, the arts, and science flood the street and enlighten the experience. Now taking on the role of Ezio Auditore, a wealthy Florentine noble that kills a corrupt magistrate as a child after hearing of his father and brother being hanged. With nowhere left to turn, he runs off to his ancestral home and joins his uncle Mario in the organization of the assassins. A revenge story follows as Ezio locates and kills the men who orchestrated the death of his father. Building off from the foundation of the first game, Assassin's Creed 2 feels like a true successor, far surpassing the reception of the first game. Following this title is the direct sequel of Assassin's Creed Brotherhood, still within the same time period, but this time focusing on Rome and the surrounding areas, while still continuing on the story of revenge from the first one, as well as adding a plethora of new mechanics and overall a more cohesive world. A proactive combat system was designed to better fit brawls of ancient times with more of a focus on offense than pure reaction. This was also the first game to introduce an online multiplayer mode, and it is honestly one of the best experiences with the series, and it further evolved the series as a whole. Moving right along into another direct sequel, still following the life of Ezio Auditore. Assassin's Creed's Revelation further builds the already established exceptional game. However, it builds further by also weaving in another arc within the life of Altair. Ezio attempts to uncover the ancient artifacts that could end the Assassin-Templar War forever. He does this by following the breadcrumbs left by Altair. The game focuses on 2 different characters. The gameplay primarily stays the same from that of Brotherhood, with a few new gadgets added for mobility and combat. These 3 titles are the definitive golden age of the series. With the popularity of this franchise rising, Ubisoft sought to make continuous releases. The golden era is excluded from the next titles. Up first is Assassin's Creed 3, that takes place in the colonial age of America, in the midst of the American Revolution. We play as Connor, who is destined to combat the Grand Master of the Templar Order, which also happens to be his father. In this game, many new features were added, such as the addition of hunting mechanics and dual wielding in combat. Additionally, this was the start of sea-based voyages and treasure hunting, adding a wilder edge to the combat and more intense gameplay. It was a very well received title that introduced key features in the series that will come to light in the next titles. Assassin's Creed Black Flag is a beloved journey into the age of pirates that brought upon a unique ship control and combat, a huge open world that can be explored to every corner. You take on the role of Edward Kenway, a privateer/pirate that eventually becomes a member of the Assassins and helps Blackbeard gain his utopia for pirates that soon ends in ruins. One of the first major disappointments to the series was that of Assassin's Creed Unity. Taken in the midst of the French Revolution, we take on the guise of Arnaud Dorian, with the blood of the assassins and adopted by the Templars. A star-crossed love story was woven into the fold, with the love interest being a Templar girl by the name of Elise de la Serre. Redemption and realization is found within the story. The biggest selling point for this title was the ability to perform the campaign cooperatively. However, the Ubisoft servers saw this as more of a struggle between the infinite lag that one experienced. The overall reception of the game was poor, and the game as a whole felt rushed. However, it did try to establish a wider scope of play. The last title before the break of 1-year releases was that of Assassin's Creed Syndicate, an overshadowed adventure due to the excess of general burnout from the other Assassin's Creed titles. It suffered for this simple fact, taking on the role of a pair of assassin twins, Jacob and Evie Fry. This is a journey of revolution and power control over the industrial age of London. Carriage chases and new age weaponry were introduced as a new mechanic. Overall, it was a mediocre title, and it couldn't do enough to bring itself into the spotlight. The first title within the new age of Assassin's Creed titles came in the form of Assassin's Creed Origins, taking place in the mythological world of ancient Egypt. This game combines the RPG aspect of leveling up and crafting powerful tools combined with the classic Assassin's Creed gameplay. This title further emphasizes on many past mechanics in the game before, including an open world, hunting, horse mechanics, and adding newer combat mechanics to bring in more competitive edge to the titles. Origins didn't just reset the series' modern narrative. It overhauled almost every aspect of the game. Combat, equipment, progression, even the series' iconic hidden blade were all broken down. The change in mechanic led to a shift in genre for the Assassin's Creed games, and even its successor, Odyssey. Both resemble an RPG far more than the stealth action game the series originated as. The decision to add role-playing elements where you use skill trees to unlock new abilities came with the realization that the team was building a game that would demand dozens of hours from players, and there had to be something to offer long-term player satisfaction. Although the stealth mechanic was absent in Origins and Odyssey, it was reviewed by the team for the next game, which is Assassin's Creed Valhalla. Alongside the return of social stealth is the resurrection of another lost Assassin's Creed ingredient: the home base. Not seen since Syndicate's rolling locomotive stronghold, Valhalla's players are able to build a Viking settlement, which will grow and develop over time. It is an advancement of ideas that began in locations like Ezio's villa and Connor's homestead, but now you have a whole village to take care of. So what do you think is next for the Assassin's Creed games? The latest 3 titles are way different from the original games, but they are still very fun to play. So which one of these games is your favorite? Tell us in the comments below, and don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that bell so you can always be notified with new uploads. And I'll see you in the next one.